You guys, I went to Europe a couple months ago. I want to show you guys how I did it, and I want to show you guys the experience that I went through. And hopefully some of you guys could actually go to Europe and experience it for yourselves. Without further ado, let's go right in the video. The first thing I did when I traveled to Europe is I had to pack my bags. So I wanted to pack pretty light because I didn't want to deal with carrying a bunch of luggage throughout the cities I was going through. And I didn't want to pay for extra fare when it came to the airline. So what I did, I just brought a big backpack, brought like 2 pants, I brought some underwear, some socks, and probably 11 shirts, 1 big jacket, passport, my camera obviously, so I could capture everything. Phone charger, the IDs that you need and stuff. Pretty much going pretty bare bones. Everything that I needed, as in product wise, I would pretty much just buy it at the place itself. You might decide to travel with more stuff than I did. It's all really up to you, and then how far you're actually traveling for. I was only going for 23 days, so it wasn't too much of a hassle. Only had to do laundry a couple times. My thought process when I actually picked out all the stuff I needed to go for this trip was I was fine with losing everything besides my phone and my camera and my passport. So I'd be able to get back home pretty much. I was fine with losing all my materials and stuff because I would just be able to buy it back. But I really wanted my camera and my passport to stay intact and my phone. Gave me peace of mind when traveling throughout the different countries that I was probably fine if I had my phone, my passport, and my camera on me. Yeah, that kept my travels really simple. So when I traveled to Europe, I wanted to go to a lot of spots because I wasn't sure when I would come back to Europe, and I wanted to see a lot of different spots before I came back to the US. So the first thing I did was I took a flight from Seattle to London, and then I took a train to Paris from London, and then I took a train to Amsterdam from Paris. I took another train to Berlin from Amsterdam, and I got lost on the way there because train difficulties. If you travel to Europe, you might find out there's some train difficulties. I made it to Berlin, and then after Berlin, I took a flight down to Venice. I took a train from Venice to Rome, and I took a flight from Rome to Athens. And then Athens, I took a flight to Barcelona, and then Barcelona to London again. And then I went back home after I went to London, back to Seattle. All in all, I did spend quite a bit on flights and transportation, but it was generally pretty cheap. I could always get a flight probably around for $100 or less. The most expensive thing I think was my train ticket from London to Paris. I did buy the Euro pass, but I didn't schedule the ticket way in advance because I pretty much just shotgunned this trip. Decided to leave, and then I was pretty much just buying tickets a couple days in advance, probably 3-4 days in advance, and then I was just traveling to Europe, just going from city to city, country to country pretty much. Hostels are really cheap in Europe. I was pretty much getting around 50 euros a night for every single place I was staying at. I usually spent around 3 to 4 days in every single country. I thought it was enough for me, honestly. Yeah, I didn't really find any troublesome with the spots I was living in. They're pretty much just hostels. Imagine just either a couple sets of bunk beds in one big room, and then you have shared bathrooms. Didn't have any trouble. Everybody there was pretty cool. Most people who are traveling in hostels are pretty young, probably around 20 to 28, I would say. And it really easy to get along with everybody there. And there's a lot of party hostels. If you do want to meet a lot of people, I do suggest going on the Hostel World app because you're able to get into these group chats pretty much, and they're just other people who are traveling and doing the same thing you're doing pretty much, and you're able to meet up with them and just text to this group chat pretty much, and you're able to meet up with them if you want to or if you don't want to. It really gives a nice social aspect, especially if you're going solo travel and you don't know anybody. You can just meet random people doing the same thing you're doing, which is pretty cool. And you're probably in a similar time frame as them as well. When I went, there was a lot of people who just graduated college, and they were there just partying to celebrate finishing college. If you're not very extroverted, I would suggest just trying it because most people are willing to just accept whoever goes to the little meetups, whatever. For most of the things I had, nobody was mean or anything. Everybody's pretty cool. Got well with everybody I met, and then made some pretty good memories of it with just random people I met, in the bar downstairs of the hostel, or just meeting up at a random breakfast spot, and then going to see sights or going to a dance club. So when I got to every single country and the major city in that country, pretty much, I would exit the airport or the train station, and I would try to reach my hostel pretty much around 2 p.m. That's when the check-in was for the hostel usually. Drop my bags off, and then immediately start just going to most popular sites pretty much. I was trying to get to most of the bigger sites in that day or the next day, the following day pretty much, because I wanted to see all the sites, you know, like once you go to a different country, you just gotta see the sites just so you can say you at least seen it, and then just start kind of just wandering from there. When it came to nighttime though, I really depended on this hostel app where I would just meet a bunch of random people. We'd meet up at night and we just talk, and we'd either schedule plans for the following day as well, or just hang out for that night, and we would just go to a club or we would do bar crawling. A lot of these people, depending on where you go, you might be on like the same type of travel schedule as these other people traveling solo or traveling in groups, just going country to country. So if you do start off early enough at a bigger starting point, then you might be able to just kind of carry on that friend group from country to country, depending if you guys really hit it off or not. I was able to do that with a couple friend groups. I thought it was pretty cool. Kind of just already have like a set of friends who are already traveling with you to these different countries, and you're just having the time of your life. The expenses of food pretty much it wasn't that bad. Usually on the west side of Europe, it's a little more expensive than the east side. It was pretty similar to prices in America, I would say. I'd say in Paris it's a little more expensive. As you go east, it's a little bit cheaper, and I thought the food was pretty good. I didn't really mind spending too much money on food, especially since I'm on a trip, right? So also I don't really spend too much when I'm in America. I didn't feel like any type of way just spending a lot of money in Europe. As for shopping, I didn't really buy a lot of clothes or anything. I'm pretty picky when I buy clothes. Care to go shopping at all. I just really wanted to see sights and then explore the nightlife. That's all I really wanted to do. So this whole entire Europe trip actually cost me around, I would say, $6,000. It says a little bit higher estimate than I would say. That I was also gone for like 23 days pretty much. Pretty much spent $50 a night in hostels. Spent $200 on a plane ticket to get over there. If you want to see how, I got a video I'll link down below. And then I probably spent around $700 to just travel in Europe. And then I spent around like $100 a day just on food and drinks. So altogether it came out to be around $5,000, which is not that bad, especially for 23 days in my opinion. Yeah, it was an experience of a lifetime, honestly. Most people I know haven't even been outside the country, which I had the opportunity to just go back home to California for a little bit, or just travel Europe. And 22 right now. I just knew that I had to go on that trip. Other people have done it before. Now that I've done this trip by myself, I feel like the world is open to me, and I could just go any place I really want to. Especially with these credit card points, I could just pretty much fly over to any spot. Like the next trip I am planning on going on is actually to Asia, and just going on that coast pretty much, and just seeing what the world is like. I'll probably come back to Europe in 2 years just to see the eastern side a little bit more than the west. I did enjoy the west, but I do want to explore the east side more. I'm really excited to go see Asia due to its lower cost of living, and I'm hoping to spend a lot more money, even though I probably won't be able to because of the difference in the dollar compared to over there. Traveling Europe is definitely possible, especially if you're younger. Especially, I think it would probably be best if you're done with college, you get that little time and break to just explore whatever. Then I would definitely just go to Europe like these other people have done. That's just really cool. You'd be gone for like 2 months. Boom, you have your experience. And then you go about your ways pretty much. And you at least said that you could go to Europe and stuff, and you've traveled the world a little bit before going into a bunch of work, which is, I think that's pretty ideal, honestly, because once you get swamped to work, you get swamped to work. But when you get this opportunity you don't get this opportunity to just kind of travel the world for a little bit and then come back. Definitely take advantage if you do have the time. Some of the mistakes that I've done while traveling to Europe was actually I double booked a flight, so I actually ended up buying for 2 flights instead of just 1. But I was pretty bummed about it once I found that out. But it wasn't too big of a deal. It was probably just $100. Also, just not seeing every single site, or just being with the groups and not being able to actually see everything, or compromising too much of what you want to do so you can do what everybody else wants to do. I really suggest that you do everything you want to do over there, and then you go hang out with groups. Otherwise, you might not be able to see everything in your amount of time that you're there. Definitely see everything you want to do, and do everything you want to do over there, because you may or may not be back there and then hang out with everybody else, because you definitely don't want to miss out on opportunities that you might think you would enjoy. Yeah, other than that, I don't really think there's any more mistakes that I've done. That's pretty much it, is that. But even if you do happen to do a couple mistakes on your trip, I wouldn't really beat yourself up about it, and I would just pretty much focus on the positives that you actually went on the trip and that you experienced all this stuff that most people won't even do in their lives. Yeah, take pride in that, and just remember the good stuff. And pretty sure it'd be pretty easy to remember the good stuff. Like, it's quite a memorable experience, just seeing all those stuff and just actually being there, watching all those movies from Hollywood and stuff, and having you be in video games and being in different spots and different places in the world, and you actually being there is quite the experience. It doesn't really feel real, if I want to be quite honest. Next time I'll probably go to Asia, and I'll make another video similar to this and how I got there as well. So another couple mistakes is not planning in advance for sightseeing. Some of these sightseeing sites are not free, and you actually do have to buy a ticket in advance to actually go inside or do more of the on-hands experience type of thing. If you know really cool sites in that country, in the city, then you really want to buy those tickets in advance, especially if you want to see everything. So just keep that in mind before you're actually going to the place. You want to you want to pre-order your ticket, especially for clubs. If you can pre-order your ticket on the specified app or their website, then I would do that as well, because it's going to be cheaper and you'll just be getting easier. You don't have to deal with the doorman. My Europe trip was quite the experience. I think it would have been better if I brought at least one closer friend that I've known from the past with me, but solo traveling Europe was quite amazing. And just being out there by yourself is quite the adventure by itself. No day was the same as every other day. I guess you could say you unlock another side to you by just traveling by yourself. You really learn to like what you like and what you know what you don't want to do. Pretty self-enlightening, and you have full control of whatever you want to do, which is kind of how I want to just live in life in general. I want to just live life however I see fit, and not deal with anybody else's opinion really, unless I want them to be in my life. By doing that solo travel, I was just able to do that, see a bunch of people, get a bunch of different perspectives as well, like how other people are doing in their lives, where their progression has taken them, and where I've become right. It's also nice to see different paths, ending up in the same spot and just talking about it. If you're able to go to Europe, go to Europe. If you really don't think you can, I'm pretty sure you can. Just stop spending, and then stop spending money on other avenues and spend more money on saving for this Europe trip if you really want to. Hostels are your friend, really cheap travel, and trains and airplanes country to country in Europe are really cheap. If you're able to get that initial flight to Europe for pretty cheap, then you're pretty much there, and it's the same as traveling in the States or just doing anything in the States really. So definitely possible. Bring a camera or bring a nice phone that you can take a lot of pictures and videos with, because I promise you, as much videos and pictures you take, it's not going to be as much as you wanted or you thought, or you think you would have taken a little bit more. It's never enough. I thought I took a lot of videos and pictures, but I wish I kind of took more. Nevertheless, you have the memories in your head forever, and you have some pictures and videos to relive those moments when you're older. And like I said, hopefully it's not the last time we travel to Europe or any other cool different foreign spots, but maybe it will be. So it's important to get out there.